On September 9th of 1987, a woman's body was found in a parking lot in Fairfax County, Virginia. Her vehicle was later discovered nearby by detectives. It was abandoned along the Dulles Toll Road. It led investigators to believe that her life was taken after encountering car trouble or walking away from the vehicle. She was identified as 37-year-old Edgy Sober Adler. Unfortunately, there's not really much information about her life. An autopsy concluded that Edgy suffered a skull fracture and cerebral hemorrhage. Detectives described the crime as brutal and cold-hearted. Despite investigators' best efforts, they could not identify the person responsible, and the case went cold. In 2010 and 2017, a man by the name of Charles Hellam wrote to the Prince George's County police detectives saying he had knowledge about certain cold cases. The first one he mentioned was the cold case of Jennifer Landry. Landry's life was taken in 2002 in Prince George's County, Maryland. After writing to detectives, Hellam decided to refuse to speak to them and give them any information. Hellam was behind bars serving a life sentence in Virginia. He took the life of his ex-girlfriend, Patricia Bentley. She was found strangled in her townhome in Chantilly, Virginia. Patricia was a school bus driver and had been a single mother to 2 sons. In 2021, investigators tried again to speak to Charles Hellam. This time, he agreed to have an interview. During that interview, Hellam verbally confessed to ending Jennifer Landry's life. According to him, he picked up 19-year-old Jennifer in Washington, D.C. and took her life in Mount Rainier a short time later. Hellam also mentioned a cold case from Fairfax County, Virginia. He said that he left a woman's body in a parking lot of a Days Inn in Herndon, Virginia. Investigators quickly realized he was referring to Edgy Sober Adler. Hellam gave details that only the perpetrator would know. This led to 52-year-old Charles Hellam being indicted in January of 2022. He is currently incarcerated at the Red Onion State Prison in Virginia. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis said, "We now know even more about the danger he presented to the entire National Capital Region. Sadly, both of Edgy's parents passed away, never knowing what happened to their daughter. We hope this indictment brings some sense of closure to her surviving family members and friends." Davis also said that investigators are now trying to determine whether Hellam is involved in any other cold cases. Prince George's County Police Chief Malik Aziz said detectives didn't give up. "We all want our community to know that no matter how much time passes, we remain committed to finding answers for the families of crime victims. They deserve to know what happened to their loved ones." Authorities credited the tireless work of detectives and prosecutors over the years with finally finding answers to the cold cases and continuing to pursue justice despite Hellam's current life sentence for taking Patricia Bentley's life. On April 29th of 2009, a baby's body was found inside a trash bag on the side of a road near the town of Teresa, Wisconsin. Officers were able to gather genetic evidence from the newborn, as well as the bag and its other contents. Some of the DNA discovered was determined to belong to a close female relative that investigators assumed was from the child's mother. The baby was white and female. A county medical examiner performed an autopsy on the body 2 days later and determined the baby passed away prior to or during birth. At the time, investigators working on identifying anyone related to the baby named her Baby Teresa, after the community closest to where she was found. After authorities were unable to find anyone related to Baby Teresa, she was laid to rest on May 11th of 2009. While no family was present at her burial, community members showed up to the Lowell Cemetery in southwest Dodge County to pay their respects. Todd Michael and his staff at the Cornerstone Funeral Home donated the funds for the funeral service. The sheriff's office chaplain, Timothy Bauer, conducted the service. In 2014, Authorities filed a charge against the unknown mother's DNA profile to prevent a 6-year-old statute of limitations for the charges to run out, effectively allowing them to prosecute the mother when they finally identify her. As DNA technology advanced in recent years, investigators were finally able to identify baby Teresa's parents in 2021. The mother is 45-year-old Karine Lutenin. Investigators spoke with her in March of 2021. Lutenin claimed that she didn't realize she was pregnant until she was months into her term. She said that she was in denial when she gave birth to the baby at home. She told investigators the child's umbilical cord was wrapped around its neck when it was born, so she put the newborn's body in a garbage bag and drove aimlessly on what was then US Highway 41. Lutenin then left the bag with the baby's body in a wooded area she had found next to the road. During her pregnancy, Lutenin admitted she continued smoking a pack of cigarettes a day and drinking 6 to 8 beers daily. She didn't hear about baby Teresa until 5 years later, she claimed. The infant's biological father claims he had no idea Lutenin was even pregnant. The man confirmed he had been in a relationship with Lutenin since 2002. Karen Lutenin was then arrested on March of 2021. Following the arrest, her lawyer, Anik Ahmad, had this to say. As the district attorney explained, this case involves a stillborn child, which is always a tragedy for the parents involved. Further facts about the case will come to light over the course of the legal process. Due to the ethical rules that govern attorneys' statement while an active case is pending, I am limited in what I can say on behalf of Miss Lutenin. As every person is presumed innocent under the law, I would ask that the community respect Miss Lutenin's privacy in the meantime. In April of 2022, Lutenin pled guilty to 1 count of concealing the death of her child. During the trial, it was confirmed that Lutenin never asked for medical help before or after the baby was delivered, and there were no medical records of Lutenin being pregnant. She told investigators she blacked out for about 15 minutes after the birth and never heard the baby cry and never saw it move. A sentencing hearing was then set up for August 5th of 2022. She faced up to 3.5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Then, in September of 2022, Lutenin was sentenced to 6 months in jail and 3 years of probation. The court stated a sentence of 1.5 years in prison and 2 years of probation, which will only be served if Lutenin does not successfully complete probation. As a part of her probation, Lutenin was also ordered to pay a $5,000 fine, complete 60 hours of community service, and undergo mental health treatment.